The phone was ringing. I opened my eyes. I fell asleep on my desk. I turned the phone off and stretched on the chair. A tesseract was on my screen. I picked up the phone and went to the kitchen to make myself some coffee. I looked at the clock. It was almost noon. I never wake up before noon. I took the cup of coffee and turned the phone on again on my way to my desk. I sat down and checked last night's work. I was working on the subject of time. I always believed that it was the key dimension to unlock our perception about all the other dimensions. Actually, I thought it was more than a door itself rather than a key, yet I was still missing something despite my exhausting research. I looked at my phone's screen. It was Paul who called me. I opened my calendar. That night was the big night. It's quite funny when you work on ideas like time to call anything big. On the other hand, the rest of the team thought of it as an important milestone of our work, so to spare my time and effort, I had decided to go with the flow. I called Paul back. "Have you finally decided to wake up?" Paul asked me excitedly. I had a strange feeling of déjà vu. I always find it hard to wake up. I stared at my coffee cup. I had it placed on the center of the pyramid I had drawn the night before. "Haven't you had enough coffee yet?" He went on talking, yet enjoying it that much that he was almost singing. There were scattered papers all over the floor. I checked my desktop. I opened my Wonderland program. I had been trying to get them together in a multidimensional environment, but I still lacked rhythm. Nothing really works on that level unless you can hear its music and dance along with it. It's like decoding. I wasn't looking for a single snapshot. I was looking for far more than that. Okay, it seems like I will do all the talking. We are at the reception and we are starting to install the equipment. They told me that some very important people will come. They refused to tell me their names or give me any further information about it. All that I know is that if they are interested, we will have the resources to get to the next level. I'm still boring you with that stuff, am I? Okay, let me worry about that. Have as many cups of coffee as you can handle and I will be there in about an hour to pick you up. You have to check for yourself that everything is working smoothly so that we can make the adjustments you wish, if any. Get yourself ready. I could feel him smiling. He would be better than me at this, yet they asked me to do the presentation. I had 1 hour. How is it possible to have something that you don't own, something that doesn't really exist, but only in a form of a blur reflection? As I was picking my notes from the floor, I noticed that I had drawn something on the wall. I hadn't drunk any alcohol, yet I had no recollection of it. I stared at the drawing. It looked like a solar eclipse, but I had always been awful at drawing, so I may have had something else in mind. There was no time for me to figure it out. I was on my way to the bathroom when the doorbell rang. I was already at least 1 hour late. I opened the door and Paul rushed into the living room. "Did you sleep on your desk again? You look like you have been hit by a truck. Go and have a shower and I will find you something decent to wear. I hope you have done your laundry." He went straight to my bedroom. "Go and have a shower," he shouted while looking in the closet. I still had that déjà vu feeling, but I wasn't in the mood of talking about it, so I got ready and we left the apartment. Fortunately, there was not much traffic, so we arrived on time for the meeting. All the team members were there, testing the lights, the projectors, the videos, and the brochures that we had prepared to give away. I noticed a pack of books on the table. I hadn't asked for a hard copy of that before, even though I had given my consent along with the rest of the team. "I have another cup of coffee for you. It's great. You're going to love their coffee," Paul told me as he gave me one and took the book from my hands. They are interested in the book. I don't know why, but that's the only thing that is clear. I honestly don't care about what they're looking for, but if they offer us a contract, I am going on vacation on a sunny beach and then you will be the one searching for me. As I drank my coffee, he managed to fit the microphone and earphones on me. "Now you're ready. Microphone is on, so be cautious of what you say. We don't know who's actually here apart from our team. Could you please fade the lights out so I can see the videos from the audience's point of view? Paul, please stand over there. I will check how easy it's for people to have eye contact with you. I stepped off stage and started speaking as I was wandering among the empty seats. Paul, it's not working. People will fall asleep within 10 minutes and then we can only sell it to insomnia freaks. We are working on dimensions here, so let's help them understand about what we're talking about instead of boring them to death. You will be the one on stage and I will sit amongst them. You promised them an experience, not a college class. But I have nothing to say. The speech was written for you. I know, don't worry about that. Just welcome people, improvise, and I will step in. You must be joking. No, I'm not. Make up your mind. People have already started coming in the lobby. We open doors in half an hour. Paul, you are the one for the job. I know you can do it. I'm going to the lobby to have a drink with them. I will come back in half an hour as one of them. Don't panic. I won't run away. The sound and the lighting are perfect. Go with the flow. I exited the room and went to the bar. I left aside the cup of coffee and asked for a beer. People had started gathering. I didn't expect so many people to be interested in a game designed specifically to make them question their own existence. Most of the games so far had been designed to lure the gamers with entertainment and prizes. We had no prize for the winner, and entertainment was a tricky subject. The doors opened and people started getting inside, talking to each other, holding books, and a few people were on their own. I followed them and found myself a seat. The lights started fading out and I could easily fall asleep while that creepy lullaby faded along with them. Paul showed up on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. It's our pleasure to have you here with us. As you entered, you each were given a unique password. Don't lose it. You will need it soon in order to have access to the game. The screens on stage started projecting the intro of the game. An ancient building was rotating clockwise. It had 4 doors on each side that opened slowly in sync with the music, revealing an unlisted internet address. You can go to that page and start downloading the game. I could have stayed home and do that. Was it necessary to bring me over here? I told Paul as I stood up and moved towards him with my phone on my hand. You belong to our selected elite players, so we thought that you deserve a chance for a face-to-face interaction before you decide to go either on your own or form a team. Yet it's not only that, isn't it? I said. Of course not, Paul said while bringing out the cup of coffee I left on the bar. We needed your DNA samples, and you all provided them to us. He left the cup next to his microphone, while the screens showed cups of coffee, tea, hair, anything that had everyone's DNA from that room. You have been selected for the Hunters team. That's the greatest honor you could get as a starting point. We called you in because none of you can win using simply his own DNA. Everything that you ate or drank since you came here waiting for the speech to start was contaminated with a virus. The virus is programmed not only to fuse with your own DNA, but furthermore to start altering your genes. As you hear me speak, the virus induces specific gene translation. You are carriers not only of your own history, but your ancestors as well. You have all their memories, skills, fears coded within you. So soon, you will be their best chance to go on surviving through you. I play for the fun of playing. I am not interested in discovering whether I can bake cookies like my grandmother. I would take a cooking class if I wanted to learn that, I said. You can get out of that door and pretend that you were never here. Nobody is going to stop you, but the virus is incomplete. If you don't take a specific inhibitor within the next 48 hours, everything you carry from your ancestors and your genes will surface and take over your brain, crushing every tiny detail of what you are and what you have ever been. The longer you delay, the more of you will be fighting for a single body. It's up to you to decide who will be the one to conquer them all. I don't care if you work together or alone. Each one of you has to eliminate at least one of those names that are on your list within your time constraints. By this time, you have already started experiencing memories that you can't recall as your own. You have 48 hours to use their assets to hunt those people down. For the ones who don't show up with results until then, their name will be added on someone's list. With all your potentials combined, there is no place you can't go and no one that you won't be able to find. In case you are worried about your loved ones, if their name is not on your list, you don't have to worry about them. No one is going to harm them, but soon you won't have any recollection of them. They will become a faded dream that you won't be missing at all. While I was playing with my bottle of beer, I noticed that someone had altered the label. Instead of the proper label, the word Prometheus was written on it. Paul had placed me in the game along with the rest. I was trapped. I had no access to the inhibitor. That was his work. What Paul didn't know was that I had already agreed in altering my DNA. I had already another virus in my body. It was someone else's DNA. Mark knew I was crazy enough to say yes when he proposed it to me. He had created his own inhibitor for the virus, but that required a lot of monitoring and drugs to keep me stable and safe. I had no idea what would happen now. People started getting out of the room. I turned my face to the wall and leaned on it. Employees came and started cleaning the place up and packing the equipment. I sat on the floor, still holding my beer. Paul came to me. On the list, there is no name for you to hunt. You don't need information like the rest of them. I will just give you 3 names: Alex, Mark, Lisa. Bring them to me, and I will give you the inhibitor. You will be back again behind your desk in no time. Lisa is dead. If you know Mark and Alex, then you know that as well. No, Lisa's body is dead, yet they managed to keep her mind functioning, probably in some form of AI. I want all 3 of them. You are going to bring them to me. The door opened. A woman was pushing a man into the room, bringing him to Paul. Here is number 42 of your list. He was in the room with the rest of us. This is your access to his work and every digital blueprint of his existence, she said as she threw his cell phone and another device on the floor next to him. You're quick, said Paul. Now you're part of the deal. Give me the inhibitor. Your wish is my command. The personnel suddenly stopped packing and surrounded us. They injected both of them, and once they lost their consciousness, they removed both from the room. You're not going to give her the inhibitor and let her go her way, aren't you? Of course not. She tracked down her match, so I will try to combine them. This is going to be easy, as it's her brother. They share the same history. We will use him as a sample while she spirals down the past, so that we will be able to improve the inhibitor. So you tricked them. She is not the hunter, he is. Yes. So you don't have an inhibitor that actually works. Did you give me the virus, or are you just messing with me just like you did with the rest? You were the easiest one of all. Since you worked for us, we had your DNA samples long ago, and you didn't get the virus today. You have it for weeks. You had the honors of being our first hybrid. When did you do that? How long have you been experiencing your blackouts? Did you think that I don't know about them? You would be surprised with what I know, he said as he placed a photograph of Alex's pyramid in front of me. You already have trouble not only recalling facts, but you are at a point where you can't tell what's real or not. I have kept you without any blackout for almost a day. Maybe your coffee had the inhibitor that kept you sane all the time. Maybe in your beer was an enzyme activator. I want Alex, Mark, and Lisa. Go get them. I felt the beer's bottle falling on the floor and everything became black once more. Janus, can you hear me? I was back on my apartment's floor and my stomach was aching. I started vomiting in my mouth while Mark was turning me on my side, holding my head. Tell me, what did you take? Mark shouted. I could see a needle on the floor, but I couldn't remember anything except that I passed out with Paul. Who was it? Tell me the name of the last person you remember. Paul, I muttered, as I was too tired to care about Mark's voice. He found you, didn't he? Or you were that stupid to go see him? You're a drug addict, aren't you? That's why you don't respond to the medications as expected. Isn't it so? Just admit it. Save me the trouble of fighting all over again for a lost cause. I'm not a drug addict, I mumbled as I was trying to stand up. But you know well who was a drug addict. None of my ancestors had ever been one. It was Lisa who was a drug addict, and Paul's virus had been translating that memory, and you never told me anything. I could just hand you to Paul. Mark punched me on the face. Paul is dead. You killed him with a broken beer bottle the day he told you he gave you Prometheus, so don't try threatening me with that. Drugs may have killed Lisa, but it was you who killed Paul. If you are too high to remember that, I can take you to the lab where we keep his body. So Paul is the only hunter you actually have. Myself doesn't count, since you made me a mixed breed. I crawled to my bathroom and started vomiting. Are we done here? We have to get back to the lab. I don't want to get back there. If I leave you here, you die. Then place my corpse next to Paul's. He was never a hunter. He couldn't be one. You were his hunter, but you used me to kill him for you. I am your hunting dog. I traced down your targets, and then you killed them. Do you know what was the worst time for Lisa? Withdrawal syndrome, he told me as he was sticking a needle in my arm. I'm neutralizing whatever drugs you used yesterday. Knowing Lisa, I am certain that chose wisely. I'll leave you here. I welcome you to Lisa's hell. I will return tomorrow to check what's left of you, if any. I don't need you. Alex doesn't need you either. We created you, and everything is coded in the lab. We have your clone in our database. It must have been extremely disappointing that my clone couldn't translate all that data. Did you believe that I only use my resources combined with the ones that you put into me to translate all that mumbo-jumbo for you? I could be using a translator I created in kindergarten, or an ex-lover's coding to send love letters. If you had the full code, you would have killed me already. Every bone in my body was aching like it was shattering from the inside into a million pieces. I was freezing, and I was struggling to keep my thoughts straight, but my body was collapsing. We made it clear from the start that we were after time, that we were willing to hunt down everyone that couldn't pass through time yet, but has studied a possible way, and you agreed to that. You had only one condition, to use every little piece of our knowledge so that you could meet again the one you were after. Let me refresh your memory. Do you remember that black figure you saw and you thought it was you? You perceived what your fucked up brain could comprehend at that point. It wasn't you. That figure is a path that lets you surpass your blackouts, overcome your brain damage, to bring you back to your starting point, right before dying in your vomit, junkie. Let me clarify this. That black figure wasn't you. It was taller than you, and it had a clear view of you. You know that. It wasn't a projection of you. It was the one you are looking for. You created the shadow, but you didn't recognize him. Do you remember screaming at me that I couldn't recognize Lisa over there? That scream wasn't for me. It was meant for yourself. And you didn't mean Lisa. I have Lisa inside you, inside a computer. I can have as many Lisa's clones as I want. I am sane enough to keep away from searching her until we break our time frame. So it's up to you now. Do you really want to meet that person? Or are you so fucked up you can't be sure if it's real or something that we implanted? If you can't tell the difference, you're useless to us, said Mark and left. I was dying. I was living every single death that was written on my DNA. I struggled to stand on my feet. I looked at the mirror. What was left wasn't me. I put my fist through the mirror. I used a sharp to cut my veins. I was exhausted. All I wanted was peace. The pain started fading little by little. Whoever that black figure was, I hoped he waited for me at the other side, that he would no longer be black, that he would take care of me. A leap of faith was all I needed. "Will you catch me if I fall?" I could see my body on the floor. I was neither sad nor happy. All I could feel was I was being freed. I could still feel my body. I knew that I was no longer breathing. Suddenly, I realized something that I had been doing so effortlessly all my life seemed totally pointless, that it had been nothing but a burden. I knew I had my 10 minutes. A human brain can survive for 10 minutes without any oxygen from the blood flow. After those 10 minutes, neurological damage was irreversible, and with 10 more minutes, the brain is dead. Nevertheless, time had meaning only while there was a breath measuring it. Where I was, whether it was for a second or an eternity, it felt the same. I looked around. There was no light at the end of the tunnel. I was floating in the dark. Yet it was like standing still. I could stay there forever without missing anything or anyone, without love or hate, freed from any desire, calm, emotionless. At last, I was at peace, wandering without any purpose. As I was moving in the dark, I felt something like an open hand entering my body. I knew that I no longer had a body, yet it hurt me. I took a step back. I could feel the hand pushing against my heart, but I could see no one. I could no longer move. Someone was standing in my way, and he was not willing of letting me pass. "It's not your time to come here. You have to go back." I didn't want to go back. I tried telling something, but I couldn't speak a word. There was only that voice ordering me to go back. He wasn't taking no for an answer. I couldn't see anyone, but I was certain that this hand was of the black figure that I had seen before. It wasn't someone else's memory or an illusion. I knew him, although I had never met him in person. I had no name, no face, but I always had the same feeling whenever he appeared. Every time I felt like I was meeting one of the most important figures of my life, the one that I could have blind faith in, that he would always take care of me, devoted, as if bonded with an unbreakable oath, one I had no recollection of. So that's how it feels to have amnesia. Someone knows everything about you. They are always in the shadows for you, and you know nothing. You don't have a face, a name, a place, a date. No one can tell you anything about that relationship. Nevertheless, he's there where no one could ever be. My brain was dying, so the last thing I was taking with me would be my imaginary friend. "Go back! Now!" he ordered me while pushing me. I was back in my body. That felt like being crushed between walls. I opened my mouth in a scream, but I couldn't scream. I was gasping for air. I could feel my breath floating from head to toes and backwards. I wanted to cry, but I had no tears. It was so cold over there. I was alone on the floor, incapable of running away. I was trapped once more in my own life. Every grasp for air I inhaled was a failure. Someone violently turned me while shouting, "You are not Lisa. Snap out of it. Lisa died. You are not going to die. Not today. Look at me. Do you recognize me? Do you know where you are? Tell me your name." I looked at him. I was grieving with every cell and every thought. I didn't want to play Jeopardy. He was right. The black figure was mine. He was the reason I joined the program and became their lab rat. I looked for him in every way possible. I was never able to find him. On the other hand, He would appear in every pivotal moment because of a promise. He wouldn't reveal it, and I had no recollection of it. I had made up my mind that I was crazy. I was okay with that. An imaginary friend couldn't hurt anyone. How could he? You can bring your Cookie Monster with you as long as it eats from your own cookies only. That was my little secret when I worked with Paul at his company until the day Alex showed up. I shoved him by accident while getting out of the elevator, and as I turned around to apologize, I saw him staring at me. "Excuse me, sir, do I know you?" "Not yet. I'm Alex." "Nice to meet you, Alex. I apologize for my clumsiness. I would love to stay, but I am late for work." I ran to my office. I started working on my notes. An hour later, someone knocked on the door. It opened, and Alex showed up. "You're always late for work. This wasn't your first day being late. If you ever decide you need a new job, this is my card. I know what you have been searching for years. I know that nobody ever gave you any answers. Call me when you decide that you're ready for your answers. You can't find a ghost that has no trail. When you decide to meet him on your own terms instead of his, I will be there to help you. I am your Mad Hatter. I will let you play with my hat when you decide you don't need to pretend you're just like one of them out there." He left, closing the door behind him before I could say anything. I took the card and threw it away. I went out to get a cup of coffee. When I returned, I recovered the card out of the bin and put it in my wallet. I didn't call for days. The nights were more difficult to resist calling him, but I managed to restrain myself for a long time after our first meeting. One insomnia-filled night, I took it out of my wallet. I placed it on the table. I poured myself some wine and placed my cell phone next to Alex's card. It took much effort to get to where I was in life. I had a good job, a nice apartment. I didn't have to worry about money, and I had enough time to waste around. I had been living in equilibrium. I grabbed the card and tore it to pieces and flushed them down the toilet. I took my wallet and my cell phone. I put on my jacket and went out to blend in with all the unknown people. I desperately needed a distraction, so I had to go downtown. I picked up a bar at random, got in, and sat down while ordering vodka. Have you ever wondered if life was a bunch of hidden cards? What if you get to pick a card up that you don't like and you can give it back? Let's say that there was someone who could shuffle them and offered you a second choice. You got to pick up another unseen card. Would you pick the exact same card as you did the first time? I turned to the man who was speaking to me. It was Alex, and he was drinking his whiskey alone. "Hi, Alex. I just got my drink. If I wanted to talk with you, I would have called you. I have your number." "You didn't want to call me, yet you wanted us to meet once more. Do you believe in coincidences? It's just a nickname for fate." "Not my cup of tea. I'm sorry, but I work in a few hours. You never wake up on time. Their sense of time is different than yours, but you make that compromise willingly to be on track. And that's why I'm living now with your really deep thoughts. I don't fall for this bullshit. I've done my homework. Paul turned you down. He won't finance your research program. You can go and find a new playground." "So you still think that I came for Paul the other day?" "I don't care," I answered while I was paying for my drink. "I came to see you that morning. I want you to leave your boring job and come work with me. You will do that after you read this." He took a small piece of paper and he started writing as I was wearing my jacket. He passed it in my hand and turned his back on me, drinking his whiskey. As soon as I was out of the bar, I unfolded the paper and read what he had written. It was just a phrase. "Even from hell, I will always come to you." I took out my lighter and burned the paper. I walked away without looking back. There was no logical way that he could connect that phrase with me. I got into my car and drove out of town. I stopped sometime before dawn at a cheap motel in the middle of nowhere. I rented a room and fell right asleep. I woke up hours later with a headache. It took me some minutes to realize that I wasn't home. Have you ever stood at a point not knowing which choice is the best? I always had a problem with defining the word best. Is it for the best to get my ass back to work and pretend once more that I never met Alex? Is it best to quit my job and find a new one in another city? Or should I just go to Alex and let him play with my mind? I got out of the room and went straight to the cafeteria to grab a cup of coffee. I sat there drinking my coffee when suddenly someone passed me a woman's photograph. She is Lisa. Actually, she's no more. She died and I need your work on viruses to bring her back. I have read all your experiments on Drosophila melanogaster's genome and transgenic organisms, including the ones about neuroregenerative disorders that you haven't published yet. This is a picture of your brain's fMRI that pushed you to work harder on epigenetic. I am a doctor, so we both know what that image shows, what your future will be if you don't come up with a breakthrough soon. I have traveled hours to offer you a chance for that breakthrough. I am not interested. Alex should have saved you from the trouble. I know who you are. Paul is working for Alex, so practically you work for us already. But I failed to advance your work further. I need to bring Lisa back, and you need to find someone as well. I have Lisa's DNA. You can make a transgenic organism for her. Alex will give you all that you need to find whom you are searching for in return. It's impossible to bring someone back using a transgenic organism. There would be a domination fight between the two organisms. Yet you are starting to control which one will be able to emerge. And that gave me that brain cancer you see on the MRI. So you are already dying, and despite your efforts, you are not able to find him. You are running out of time. You don't care about money or fame or what's Paul going to do with your work. You tried to recover Jean's memories and knowledge from the person's ancestors and use them at will. I am giving you the chance to use someone's knowledge and memories that will enable you to overcome your only obstacle, time. I have come to terms that I am not immortal and that my time has come to pass without any real answers. I know what's to lose someone that you love, someone that you were fortunate to hold in your arms, to feel their touch, smell their skin, feel their body's warmth, hear their voice whispering next to your ear, and then one day lose it in the blink of an eye. If I had to choose, I would give anything to meet her, even though I am aware of my life's black hole right now. Black holes are nothing but gravity. They suck up everything that comes near them. Black holes are way more than that. Gravity is the simplest way to approach their greatness, without the fear of getting lost in them. It's a form of gravity that brought Lisa and I together. It's a form of gravity that brings him to you. Your fMRI is different not only because of your cancer, but because regions of your brain that are supposed to be quiet are fully functioning. Overfunctioning is the proper word. I have done my homework on fMRI. Come with me and we will help you control it. You know, if you live it that way, you will be dead before your body dies. You are tired all the time. You know deep inside that memories that you didn't expect or want emerge, taking over you. Even if he shows up again, you may not recognize him. That's my problem, not yours. You have your beloved's memories. Live with them and prosper. I will learn to live with memories that I never had. Mark took a small photo out of his pocket. I didn't want to bring this up, but you are forcing me to. Do you recognize the man in the photo? Of course. It's my grandfather, William. He died years ago. William suffered from multiple personality disorder. One of those personalities was a killer. Yes, I know, Tom was the killer. Do you remember what Tom did to remind his presence to your grandfather? A tattoo. Once Tom was there, everyone could see the tattoo. When it was William around, the tattoo was covered. Could you describe that tattoo to me? A snake with an apple in his mouth. Where was that tattoo? On his right forearm. Do you mean a tattoo like this? And he revealed my right forearm. You have no recollection of that tattoo, yet by instinct you keep it hidden. I was looking at the tattoo. I had no idea how I got that tattoo. Tom is here, and probably William, and I can't tell how many others. I don't have enough information about everyone, but now you know firsthand that Prometheus woke up the knowledge that was lost. It was getting dark. I wanted to just run away, but I couldn't move. We are going to need something stronger than coffee to go on with that conversation, Mark told me and ordered me vodka. This is what you prefer, isn't it? Have I killed anyone? I asked him without looking at him while trying to hide my tattoo. No, not yet. But if you insist on going on your own, you know that it's only a matter of time. The tattoo was Tom's signal to know that he was there then, and he's here now. You know that you are dying, and Tom sent you his code message. Other people are going to die, but they just don't know it yet. So now it's all up to you. Will you choose to live in fear that every time that you fail to remember what you did, you may or may not have killed someone? Will you lock yourself in a mental clinic and sleep till your brain is destroyed? Or do you want to use your last chance to get your answers? You don't have them. No, we don't. But we will help you discover them on your own, while we will help you keep Tom and the rest sleeping. As long as I let you put Lisa in their place. I have to do that till Lisa gives me the rest of your project. Then I will wipe out any DNA of hers from you. I can promise you that. Thanks to its markers, it will be easy to be targeted. I know that you don't want to trust me now, but you have to. Your study on genetics was great, but your experiment on yourself has gone bad. Let us fix that for you. And now it's time you tell me you can cure my brain cancer in a secret laboratory that no one knows about, and I will find the one I'm looking for, and I will get out of there in the sunset with my happily ever after. Meh. No, you won't leave that place alive. Most likely you will not even know when you died, but I will do my best to make sure that when that happens, there will be no blood on your hands. You will have at least one chance to get your answers. 2 mistakes don't equal a wise decision. So you will let your first mistake determine the outcome without doing anything about it. Mark, you come here with your scattered facts and your soothing voice trying to manipulate me in order to use me before I become useless to you. I told you all I had to say. The choice is yours. After all, there is only one question. How far are you willing to go to get what you want? Further than you could ever dare to think. I stood up and I left the cafeteria. I checked out of the motel and got back into my car. I drove home and I found Alex waiting for me in the kitchen. Are you ready for it? He asked me while he was offering me coffee. Be my guest. Please, do enjoy. I have no door for you to open, to walk through and find the one you are looking for. There is no such door. There has never been. You are the door and you already know that by instinct. I am here to show you that you are many different doors. I am here to open the first ones for you so that you will dare to open the rest of them as well. I was far from being ready, Yet I followed him to his lab. I let him put his implants in me, administer drugs and take samples. I did whatever he asked me to do, and at the same time I was working for Paul as well. Everything seemed to be okay. I knew that I had more and more blind spots on what I was doing, but I didn't give myself any time to think about it. I had to get to where I wanted all my life, no matter what, up until the moment I realized that I had killed Paul. Maybe it had been me, maybe it had been Tom, yet it was my hand with the snake on it that had his blood on it. Me and all the rest in me were orbiting, either being aware of the other's existence or in ignorance.